All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. I am so excited to have my special guest with me joining us for our very show, Wealth Being, How to Generate More Profit while creating impact. And my special guest today, oh my goodness, I can't wait to share her history and stories and backgrounds with you. She was very much on her own during her childhood and financially, and she was at age of 17. She was financially independent at the age of 17, believe it or not. She was the first person in her family to complete college and worked full-time as she earned her degrees in registered nurse with a bachelor in nursing as well and a master in public health to start. She launched her health and wellness journey working in an emergency room. Yet her interest quickly shifted to preventive health and her career path followed. As an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur at this point, right? Passionate about health and well-being, she founded two health companies that have helped thousands of people to improve their health. Both companies were also successfully sold. Her innovative out-of-the-box thinking provided solutions to assist a large multi-site corporate employers, which Cheryl sometimes doesn't like to brag about, but she has really effectively enhanced their overall health and well-being strategy and made a big difference for not only thousands, but 20 million people worldwide. Her clients included companies such as ABB, Bristol Myers Squibb, Campbell's Soup Company, Eaton, Harman International, IKEA, Mars. I mean, the list goes on, like Nestle, Progressive, Scholartic Books, Sherwin-Williams, just to name a few. So with me today, welcome Cheryl Agranovich. Is that how you pronounce your last name, first of all, Cheryl?
You are pretty close. It's Cheryl Agranovich.
Agranovich. Okay, got it. Welcome, Cheryl, to our show. Thank you so much in advance for being here with us. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you.
It is my pleasure. I'm really happy to be on the show. Thank you so much for considering me as a guest. It's great.
Absolutely. So yeah, I was so excited to share all of that. So Cheryl, walk us through what landed, like what got you to land on nursing, health and wellness, and what like why is this the thing that you want to do? Sounds like you want to do this for the rest of your life. So tell us more. How did it all start for you?
Thank you so much. Again, thanks for having me on the show. It's really fun to be here. I am really honored to have spent most of my career thinking about health and wellness and well-being, even way before it was a thing. I originally wanted, as I was trying to get into college and go to school, I wanted to be an attorney, believe it or not, and which is a big difference than going into health promotion, in my opinion. But I was concerned about trying to go to school for that many years and then maybe not being a successful attorney or not being able to finish. So I actually worked my way through college, as you mentioned, and I first got my nurse's aide, then I got my LPN, then I got my RN, then I got my bachelor's degree. And at age 45, I actually got my master's in public health. And I think what was so interesting for me was as I was earning my degrees, my first one being that nurse's aide, I realized that there's a great amount of reward that I got personally from trying to help people be better and to be healthier.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. And as you had mentioned, I was working in an emergency room. And as I was working in the emergency room, I saw way too many patients that didn't need to be there. The person who had had a stroke, the person who had diabetes, but it was uncontrolled, the person even not wearing a seatbelt who, went through the windshield. And I said to myself, why are these people not doing that? Prevention could make such a big impact. Why do we wait until there's a catastrophe to make some changes? So when it wasn't a thing about 34 years ago and nobody had ever even heard the word wellness, I decided to stop working in the emergency room. I gave up my trauma team position and I decided I wanted to go into prevention. And that is when I started my first health company, which was a personal health executive coaching company. And I did that. Any questions before I go on, Dee Dee? Because I don't want to bore the listeners in case you have a question you want to ask, or shall I
Yes,
continue?
yes, no, specifically as I mean, you're more so our listeners are definitely are into health and wellness for sure, and really looking to build successful businesses, doing what they love, creating that impact while, you know, being profitable themselves, especially financially when it comes to having a business. So I would be interested, and I know the audience would be interested too, of Cheryl, like what were the common challenges since you had two companies that they should look out for, and what is a couple really tangible tips that they can take with them in running successful businesses since you did all of that.
So thank you for the question. I think one of the things that we that are interested in health and well-being struggle with is we love to be able to share our ideas and help people because that's what we love to do. I don't think anybody really chooses this type of business unless somewhere deep inside of them they
Yes.
have a commitment, right, to make a difference, just like what you're doing with your organization, how you're helping the folks that are members. And I feel that when we try to do things to help people, we sometimes forget that we need to charge for that. We need to be okay with charging for that. And I think that we have to really value the time that we have as professionals, that
Yes.
we are then sharing our expertise and passion for health and helping people make lifestyle changes and
Mhm.
be able to be okay with charging. Early in my career, I had remembered my accountant looked at the books and he said, Cheryl, you're really, this is a couple years in, you're not making a lot of money. What's going on? And I went, well, I love what I do. I'm not really doing it because I want to make a lot of money. I'm doing it because I really want to make a lot of difference. And I
Mm.
believe that as I was continuing in my career, I learned that you can do both of those things. And if you take that passion and energy and you value it, it's okay to feel comfortable charging your clients for your expertise.
Yes. And it's so amazing that you were sharing that very story because this is the whole basis of our show. Really, the intention is understanding that we can build ourselves while helping others, right? Like we can be profitable so that way we can create the bigger impact. And the more, I guess, the more I like the way I really think about it, the more profitable we are, the bigger the impact for everyone collectively. And if we can't serve, I mean, I tell my coaches all the time too, and consultants, we can't serve if we can't sustain ourselves. Like, right? Just a simple thing as what if we get sick? Well, that means that person or we are not working that day. So we can't help whoever that we need to help that day, not to even mention the monetary rewards, right? So I love that you were able to say that because that's honestly when I first started my business was my struggle too, was because we wanted to help. So I mean, mentally, I think the mindset is, oh, it's a noble job, so I should do it for free.
Uh-huh. Right.
And the reality is like, well, actually, no, the reality is if I don't sustain myself, I'm not going to be able to help anyone.
Precisely. I agree with that 100%. I think that logic, we have to think about that from a financial perspective, but it dovetails into, I think, what you and I are both extremely passionate about, and that is you have to take care of yourself,
Yes.
right? Your own health. And as I was running both companies, you also in my intro, I didn't share, I'm a wife and I'm a mom. And those are super important titles to me, especially since I was pretty much raised by no parents around. I wanted to make sure that if I were going to be a wife and a mom, I wanted to do the best possible job I could. So doing all of those things and can be challenging and it can be hard and it can be when you're trying to run a business and you want to do a great job, many times you will fall short in finding self-care time. And I
Yeah.
think what's really important for all of our listeners to feel okay with is planning in some self-care time, because if you don't take care of your health, you cannot be that example to the people that are looking to you for your health advice. It's really important that if you're doing something, you're practicing what you're asking people to practice as well.
Yes, and honestly, I think you answered my question beautifully. Is one, ensuring that you understand the value of your work and charge for it, so that way you can sustain yourself, so you can continue creating the impact. Secondly, to ensure that you can continue to provide that quality type of service, you have to take care of yourself. And yeah, no, I think it's the two biggest, most important things for I believe for anyone, whether they are even in business, right? Like even if they're in a job corporate position, I think we really naturally as a culture forget that self-care is okay. It's almost like we have to always grind or work the 60 hours week or have the extra passion project, etc. And we forget the essential of really taking care of ourselves. So I love your teachings, and you hear it, folks. Cheryl has ran many companies, affected 20 million people. She knows what she's talking about, and especially sold two successful health and wellness companies. So, Cheryl, with that said, what if you have the one thing, right, to share with our audience who are entrepreneurs or potential business owners, and especially those who are in the health and wellness industry? What should they be looking out for the future of our industry, and how can they continue to I want to say build sustainability and create impact at the same time?
I think that it's important right now. I mean, this last 2 years have not been easy, it's particularly in the history of the world. It's been a really tough time. Health and well-being programs are necessary. We have not only people dealing with physical ailments, but think of the impact that has been made on the mental health side of our world today. What everyone is doing to help make people be better and to feel healthier is extremely important. It's crucial for the success of humans to continue, I believe. I think it's very important. So things that I think a person might want to think about doing, and I know you said the one thing, and I really struggle with one thing to be able to share, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to look at what people are needing. People need the support. They need to feel that they're cared about. They need to feel like they're part of a community. And when
Yes.
you're working with your clients, creating programs that will allow them to have that social aspect, because we don't really have that right now as much as we would like in a safe environment. I feel that allowing people to have programs that will connect them in some way to be part of a community could be very advantageous for providers today, because people need to feel like they belong somewhere. We feel so empty. Even going to the grocery store, we can't really talk to the people because nobody knows who anyone is with their masks on. So
Yes.
if there is a way to connect people in some way with health and well-being programs as a community, I think that that could be very successful for them. I think for a provider, an entrepreneur, I think that they need to also be conscious about having advisory boards. If it's possible to have a couple folks, 2 to 5 people on your team
Yeah.
that kind of have your back. They don't have to always get paid. It doesn't have to be a stuffy board of directors, but it certainly can be some people that you can count on to give you honest opinions about the services that you might be thinking about providing or products. And I think having advisors are very helpful to bounce ideas off as well. And as you grow, you can pay them something, or you could give them your services back at no charge if you have to. But it's nice for people to be able to get those opinions that you have that aren't your spouse or aren't your family members, but people who are objective outsiders that might be able to give you some insight. There's one last bit of advice, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
I was told I've always had a board of advisors for the companies that I've had. It started out with just one person, and then of course, as the companies grew, it got a little bit more formalized. But one of my boards of advisors had told me before, I think, Cheryl, every single time you're walking into your office and you're doing something with work, you have to make sure what you're doing is moving your company forward. If you're not spending your time doing something that is moving your company forward, then you shouldn't be doing it. It's that simple. It's not always that simple, right? I mean, but I actually wrote down what they shared, and I had it all around me. to remind myself. And then as our companies grew and we actually had employees, which I don't like that word, I call them associates. What I did is I actually made sure that everyone on my team understood our core values, understood our mission, and had the ability, and they were empowered to move the company forward. But if they weren't spending their time moving the company forward, then maybe they would have to reassess what they were doing that particular moment. So that's, I think, how we were able to grow so well, because we were all aligned, moving in the same direction.
Yes. I think this is so beautiful because ultimately we are connected via a vision, is what you're speaking to, right? The vision has to be there, and then the mission happened with the collective, the team. So I love that you were able to really dilute it down to like 3 really core components to ensuring how to run successful businesses, and or even creating that company morale and culture that people feel belonging to. Like even you, and you said in your the health and wellness programs, but it sounds also you created that connection piece in your companies too, amongst your teammates. So
We
super amazing.
tried. We were the first, one of the first companies to have an on-site fitness center, lactation room, all the things that we wanted to really make
Wow.
sure we were taking care of our teams with.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I feel like I want to spend days and hours just talking with you and learning more about what you do. So if you have any parting remarks for the audience, and or additionally, lastly, please tell us how we can find you if we want to learn more about you and your company and what you're up to.
Absolutely. Please have the viewers hit me up on LinkedIn. At CherylAgranovich.com. I have, certainly they can contact me that way if they have any questions. I've most recently written a book, a women's health survival guide, which Dee Dee, I don't know if you've had time to read or not, but all the profit from my book and any keynote speaking that I do, I'm donating. I've actually set up scholarships for young women in need who need to get their health education, which I was one of them. I started out on the welfare program, so I want to be able to pay that forward. So if anybody knows of anybody that might need a book as a gift, think about that. But if you have questions about how you're running your business and you want to hit me up, feel free to give me a call or contact me. I'd be happy to try to help you.
Oh my goodness, this is so lovely. Thank you again. Truly, Cheryl, it has been an honor to have you on the show. And honestly, on behalf of myself, my team of Fit to Profit, and the potential listeners in the audience, truly thank you for all that you do, what you've been doing, and the world. Just please know that it's a better place because of you.
And you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Have a fantastic day, and we will talk to you soon.
Speak to you soon.